Welcome to the Moneypants Solution digital online course, where we're going to show you how to set up the Moneypants solution in your home. This is part 2 of Moneypants step number 2. Get the family together. With jobs assigned, point charts posted on the fridge and ready to go, job checklists placed in the job areas, and paydays scheduled, it's now time to help your kids map out their new financial responsibilities. This is another critical piece to making sure the Moneypants solution works long term. If your kids don't have or don't know what their financial obligations are, they will quickly lose the motivation to work. On the other hand, if they know what they're working toward and have financial goals, they will be much more likely to work and to work hard on a consistent basis. This is also important so that older kids will be aware of how much work they will need to get outside the home in order to meet their financial obligations. Note: the Moneypants solution is specifically designed so that older children in their teens cannot earn enough money at home for mom and dad to meet their financial obligations, and as such, will be motivated to look for work outside the home. To get started, open up the Kids Expenses worksheet. If you want, there's a sample worksheet already filled out you can refer to. Spend a few minutes with your child going over their expenses for the next year. Go over each section of the expenses worksheet. If you know how much you spend in each category, have your kid type it into the worksheet. If you don't know, help your child estimate. It's best to estimate higher than lower. The category totals will be automatically calculated. For the charitable donations category, we recommend you enter in 10% of your child's potential earnings. For point chart A, it's $130 per year. For point chart B, it's $220 per year, and for point chart C, it's $320 per year. Use the same amounts for the savings category. These will most likely change depending on how much your child earns during the year, but this is a good start. We'll talk more about what these numbers mean and also introduce the 10, 10, and 10 rule in step number 4. At the bottom of the sheet, the grand total for the year will be automatically calculated, along with monthly and weekly averages of what your child will need to earn. This weekly total should be equal to or less than the maximum amount from the point chart you chose for your family earlier. However, if your child's weekly total exceeds the point chart maximum, then they have two options. They can either trim expenses or get work outside the home. If your child decides to trim expenses, they should start with discretionary expenses first, such as toys, entertainment, and clothing accessories. If your child does not want to trim expenses, the expenses worksheet helps them determine how much money they will need to earn outside the home. Simply subtract the yearly total from the yearly point chart maximum, and that's the amount they'll need to earn. They'll have to do babysitting, house sitting, lawn mowing, car washing, or the myriad of other jobs available to their age group. If they're over age 16, they should be getting a part-time job at a fast food restaurant or similar venue. If it's not practical for your child to work outside the home due to their age, then they will need to default to cutting out some of their activities. This is a great lesson in budgeting. It's important at this point to get your kids' feedback and cooperation. You may discover during this process that your kids don't want to participate in some of the activities you've been paying for up to this point. For example, they may want to discontinue music classes or certain sports teams, but you and your spouse feel that their participation is important for them. This is called a family required expense. Don't let this become a point of contention in your home. These expenses should be clearly defined. We have a thorough explanation of how to set them up in the Q&A, and we'll discuss them in more detail in Moneypants step number 5. At this point, you should also discuss when your kids are going to start paying for their new financial obligations. For example, it wouldn't be fair to require them to pay for the $150 soccer registration fee due next week if you just started the system this week and they haven't had an opportunity to earn enough money. Pick a reasonable date for your kids to start paying for their own expenses and then stick to it. Here's a simple example. Let's say Jacob, age 13, fills out his expenses worksheet and determines he has to earn $2,340 in order to meet all of his expenses for the year. His family uses point chart B, and the maximum he can earn using that point chart is only $2,200 per year. He's short $140. What does he do? Jacob knows he has two choices: either trim some of his expenses or get additional work outside the home. He decides that he can find another source of income. He decides to go around the neighborhood with his sister and offer to mow people's lawns for $20. After an afternoon of searching, he finds someone who's willing to hire him on a weekly basis for the summer. He quickly determines he'll make at least $200, and he'll be able to meet his financial needs for the year. This is a fantastic exercise in money management, and it also helps prepare Jacob for the real world. He'll be better prepared to look for work when he's older, he'll have more confidence, and he'll be better at managing his bills and finances. A side benefit of this is that Jacob will also take much better care of the things he has and the things he has to buy. It will change his attitudes towards the activities he's doing as well. Since finding the lawn mowing job was his idea, and he worked to get it, he's going to be much more likely to arrive on time and do a good job. Having your kids know their financial obligations ahead of time helps decrease a lot of anxiety for them and for you. Just make sure everyone agrees on the timelines and amounts expected and what your children are going to be paying for themselves. This is so important. In fact, this is one of the main reasons the Moneypants solution point charts work in the long term, while other point systems fail after a month or two. Once you're done, save the expenses worksheet on your computer and then print out 2 copies. Your kid should have a copy of their individual worksheet posted in a conspicuous place in their bedroom or closet where they can review it frequently, and you as the parent should keep a copy as well. You should review this worksheet every payday to help make sure your kids are on track, but also to help solve problems and answer questions as they arise. Repeat the process for each kid. Simply click the Reset button on the bottom right of the expenses worksheet to clear all the data and start over. Now it's time to talk about parental responsibilities and overseeing the Moneypants solution. Yes, you as parents have specific responsibilities and jobs within Moneypants. You have 2 main jobs, payday and job inspector. These will become new habits, and if you do them consistently, they will dramatically decrease the total amount of work you're doing at home and make your job as parent easier and more satisfying. To help ensure you make consistent habits, we've created a point chart for you as well. We call it Moneypants Boss. The Moneypants Boss point chart is very similar to the point chart for kids. The main difference is we combine the daily chores and daily habits into one section. It's all just daily chores and habits. And we have a second section for weekly chores and habits. In the daily chores and habits section, we've put all the daily habits and chores you as a parent would want to get done. These things include getting yourself ready for the day by a certain time, or having breakfast ready, making sure you exercise, or developing a personal talent, or spending one-on-one time with your children. Obviously, you can change these to meet your needs, but you get the idea. Job inspections is included in the daily chores and habits section. This is the one activity you don't want to modify. Also, in the weekly chores and habits, you'll want to leave payday alone as well. The reason is, if you don't do those 2 things, you won't have time to do much of anything else. We believe proper goal setting applies to adults, not just children and teens. The Moneypants Boss system helps parents stay well-rounded and maintain balance in the home, all while accomplishing the things that matter most in the long run. They are the things you want to do as a parent but haven't been able to do because you've been spending all your time cleaning the house yourself. We don't believe that once you get married and have kids, you are doomed to be the family maid and taxi driver. That's not your job. Your job is to teach your kids to work, contribute, and develop healthy habits, and you should reward yourself for doing so. We have 3 pre-filled charts. They match the amounts your kids are able to earn each week. So the parent point chart A is $25 a week, point chart B is $42 a week, and point chart C is $61 a week. This is discretionary money you can spend on whatever you want. Piano lessons, gym memberships, haircuts, new electronic gadgets, jewelry, clothes, and anything else that isn't in your regular bills. The rule is, you can only spend the money that you earned, nothing more. And, just like the kids' point charts, do not change the values of the parents' point chart. As for the daily chores and habits, we recommend you start with only a few and build from there. Start off just doing the bare minimum. Job inspection, one-on-one time, family prayer, and in bed by 10. Once you have those down and are doing them consistently, then you can add in more chores and habits. The same holds true for the weekly chores and habits. Start with just doing payday, planning meeting, and date night. Then add more from there. When you're ready to add in new goals, be sure to review the proper goal-setting document and infographic for how to set up goals effectively. For each parent, print out a parent point chart and post it in a conspicuous place. It can be on the fridge with the rest of the kids' point charts, or on the bathroom mirror, or the back of the bedroom door. Just in a place where you will be consistently reminded of what your goals are. Mark your points as you accomplish your tasks. At the end of the week during payday, review your progress with your spouse and get paid for all your excellent work. Again, the Moneypants solution is simply a system of goals. The vast majority of what we do as parents is out of duty and love for our family. But part of proper goal setting includes rewarding yourself. You should reward yourself for taking the daily steps to raising happy and healthy children. Remember, human beings, which includes parents, are only happy when they are progressing. If you're still unsure if you want to use the Moneypants Boss charts, see the write-up Moneypants for Parents. It may change your mind. We'll wrap up this section by going over 3 common mistakes parents make when assigning chores. Mistake number 1, group projects. Some parents think that by giving kids chores to share, they are teaching their kids to learn teamwork. Instead, the kids just learn to fight, and it almost always ends up with one kid doing all the work while the other goes off to play. Only 50% of your kids will learn to work, and they will feel resentment towards you and their siblings. Instead, make sure jobs are clearly defined and individual. Everyone should have their own job that they answer for. We like to call it their stewardship in the home. The definition of teamwork is a group of people with specific and individual assignments, all working towards a common goal. Please see the write-up Teamwork versus Teamwork, which explains 2 competing definitions of teamwork and why only one of them is effective in the real world. Mistake number 2, overdoing it. We already mentioned this earlier, but it's worth revisiting. When assigning daily chores, be sure to keep the amount of chores low. Each kid should have a maximum of 3 daily chores, 10 daily habits, and 2 weekly chores. Job time for daily chores should be 30 minutes and no more than 3 times a day. And when you start the consistency bonus, only choose 1 daily chore and 1 daily habit to focus on. If you overdo it, your kids will get burned out and they won't be able to maintain balance. For example, we had a family that came up with over 75 chores and habits they wanted their kids to pursue. Not only is it unrealistic, it's actually impossible. You end up giving up and accomplishing nothing. Keep it simple. Mistake number 3, swapping out jobs too frequently. We haven't mentioned this yet, but an important part of teaching kids to work and to work consistently is to have them keep the same exact chore for an entire year. We recommend you have your kids keep the same daily and weekly jobs for a year. Take a look at the Q&A where we discuss this at length. To summarize, if you are constantly changing the jobs, your kids will never learn to embrace work, and there will be a lot of confusion and stress in the home. Now that we've gone over Moneypants step number 2, your homework is to help your kids fill out their financial obligations worksheets, go on a date with your spouse and decide on your personal goals, fill out the Moneypants Boss point charts, print and post them in your bathroom, review the included supplemental materials for answers to any questions you may have. Once you're done with that, let's move on to Moneypants step number 3.